afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Back from the Grid podcast. It's good to see you guys here today with myself, Cody, and the other person who's here.
Well, screw you too.
Screw you too. We're starting off to a great start today, everybody. Lots of positivity in the air. And Matthew, man, this is the 24th podcast. What do you think?
It is amazing that we've made it this far. A whole 6 months. Thank you guys that have been listening for those 6 months. Sorry that you had to put up with us in the very beginning. It was horrible quality. Very horrible.
Oh, and if you haven't noticed, Matthew has done a little bit of upgrading to our what would we call this? A studio? This is not a studio. Our little bedroom that we record in that we refer to as the studio.
It's the studio, okay?
It's the studio now because you've done a thing, Matthew. What have you done?
I have sound treated the room to make it sound just a little bit better. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So how did you explain the process of sound treatment?
I did a horrible job. Just want it to be said right now.
I mean, I'm actually going to take a little video of it while we're recording here and upload it after the podcast goes live so that you guys can go check out our social media pages. Well, this will probably only be on Facebook if I'm honest, but Facebook is Back from the Grid Podcast, Twitter is Back from the Grid, and Twitch is also Back from the Grid, which we will be streaming on this Saturday because we're not able to stream on Wednesday, but we'll get to that in here in a second. So Matthew, tell us a little bit about what you've done here.
I took a bunch of mats, some moving blankets, is what they're called, and I went ahead and attached them onto the ceiling of my room that I have over here, and now it's kind of sound treated. I've heard moving blankets on over the internet. I did a bunch of research. I didn't really want to do any foam or anything like that, because that'd be kind of a little bit of an intense process. Also, would be quite expensive. This whole thing probably costs less than $40 or $50, which for what it's worth, and what I've done in the past with recording this, sounds a lot better than it was before. So hopefully this is a pretty good setup and it works for what it's worth. From what I've heard in the past couple of days of testing this, it sounds pretty good. It's very excited. I tell you what, though, I went into Walmart trying to find moving blankets because I did all this research and stuff. And I went over to a couple of workers there, and they go, "Hi, how may I help you?" And I'm just like, "Hey, I need moving blankets." And Cody's just moving his camera up and down.
Don't worry, you guys can go watch this right now.
Oh, geez. Okay. Wow.
I'm recording this while we're recording this, so, you could listen to both if you want. Cool. But, some moving blankets, and the sound should be better. I've not heard it myself, but we're going to find out how it comes together. And I just realized my phone's making noise, so I should probably mute it.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I don't remember what my ringtone is right now, but we probably don't want to hear that. Okay,
Copyright strike.
Copyright. So, Matthew, this is an episode here today, and we do what we do at the beginning of all the episodes. So, besides the sound treatment, which honestly, heckin' good job, man. Heckin' good job. What have you been up to? What have you been playing game-wise? Is there anything that's been going on in your life?
Cody here in a second. Not doing a live stream, that's for
sure. Hey, we'll get to that. But please, tell me about other things.
I've been playing a little bit of VR. I've been playing a little bit of Beat Saber, a little bit of Pavlov. Pavlov's been a really good experience.
A little bit of Monica?
Monica? What's Monica?
Oh, you don't know that? That's an old reference. There's a song, it's called Mambo No. 5. It was, really big. That's it.
I'm so confused of these references.
Don't worry about it.
The audience will know,
it's a
right?
Stupid reference. No one needs to know about that song's existence ever. But please continue.
Anyway, I've been playing a couple of video games. Been playing a little bit of PlayStation 4. I'm still a little bit salty over the fact that we are not getting, what was it? Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed. Freaking Dying Light got delayed. I'm still kind of salty about all that. Hopefully we get those and it doesn't get delayed again, because if it gets delayed again, Cody, I will do a 5-10 minute rant on this podcast, slightly being salty about this whole thing. But other than that, not a whole lot of things that I've accomplished. I did, the last couple of nights, been preparing for this lovely podcast, along with getting ready to publish a couple of things on the YouTube channel. So look out in the future, guys, for that. You might be seeing some more content on the YouTube channel. So remember, subscribe for more content and more Fortnite funnies.
Yes.
That's not a thing. Please don't assume that we're going to be uploading Fortnite funnies.
We are not good at Fortnite. I will say that right now. Fair warning.
So yeah, other than that though, not a whole lot is happening. What
That
about
was
you,
that
Cody?
was a great sound that you just did there, Matthew, drinking your tea. That was some great sound. Very ASMR style right there for you.
We're becoming an ASMR channel, everybody.
Yes. Let's not. So, yeah. So, honestly, I've not been playing that much. Free time is something I have not had much of in the past few days because I have been working a fair amount. For those who don't know, I work at a local station, news station, broadcast and stuff here in town, and I was working on some sports games, some of those sportsy games stuff, broadcasting them on the televisions. And yeah, so that's why we didn't have a live stream yesterday because the crew call was a little early. But we are going to be live streaming on Saturday, and Matthew pointed it out to me very specifically that EU4 tutorial is boring and no one wants to watch it. So
I'm being honest
we're not going to be
here.
continuing that.
I'm just
because
being
Matthew
honest.
has complained about it. So everybody out there who loved it, it's gone because of Matthew.
Yes, all 5 viewers that we have.
All because of Matthew. But that's okay, because we're going to be playing something else, something more fun, something that we will decide upon by the time that we get there. But which will be tomorrow. And actually, yeah, we should probably mention the time. So it'll be tomorrow from the post date of this on Friday. So it'll be on that Saturday. Should be from 10 o'clock Central Standard Time to about noon Central Standard Time. Just because that's the time slot that works for us. But we will hopefully also be live streaming next Wednesday as well, continuing on whatever we start on Saturday. But yeah, so besides work and more work and lack of sleep, I'm very tired. I've not been doing much else, Matthew. That's about it.
That sounds like a normal everyday day for you.
Everyday day.
Just everyday day.
Everyday
But anyway, let's. Now that we've got that done, I feel like I have an important question for you, Cody.
What's
It's
that?
a really important question.
What's that?
Something that viewers may or may not know. And you obviously possess the knowledge to guess this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be a trivia question because I don't actually think he's been keeping up with it, how many days until Mountain Blade Bannerlord?
All right. So, first of all, let me mention we haven't been talking about Mountain Blade Bannerlord for a very specific reason, and it's because I've been way too busy. I haven't been wanting to talk about it as much as we had been because of my inability to like keep up with it and know what's going on with it. So we weren't talking about that, but Matthew just brought it up. So we're going to be talking about it now just because, we kind of have to. So Mountain Blade Bannerlord comes out. Guys, I have to tell you, it comes out. Honestly, it's very soon. It's about 17 days.
17 days?
Just about.
I thought you'd be more excited for it
Just
then by
about.
this point.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous
Because it's coming
still.
out in early access, and early access has some ups and downs sometimes, but I don't know enough about it, Matthew, because I haven't had time to look at it, Matthew, because I've been very busy, Matthew. And that is why, Matthew, we weren't going to talk about it, Matthew, but apparently we are. So there you go,
I'm throwing
everybody.
you a curveball here.
That's my very limited knowledge of Mountain Blade Bannerlord at this time, but I will be trying very hard to get a hold of it, take a look at it, break it down, and then talk about it for you guys, at least when it comes out, because I will be purchasing it upon the date it releases. Otherwise. So let's move on, Matthew, so that you don't throw any more curveballs at me, Matthew, to our next exciting segment. Excuse me, had some mouth juice squeezing up in there. Today in the grid. We are talking about some very fun, interesting stories. Matthew's got a very techie story that he's going to be talking about. I've got a very discussion-based story that I'll be talking about. And Matthew, you always start these because the way we have it written here is your name comes first for whatever reason. But I'm going to start today because you threw me that curveball, so I'm throwing you this one.
Oh, snap.
Oh, whoosh.
Oh, whoosh.
So, actually, I'm going to let you start thinking about it because
You're not ready for this yet.
Well, I feel like my story is better at the end because it's more of a
fluff piece.
more of a fun discussion-y story. Yours is like kind of serious. So,
alrighty, guys, we got some really cool news to talk about Samsung's Unpacked event. They announced a couple of new phones, a couple of which we actually talked on the podcast about before the event.
We
And
did.
guess what? I was right, everybody. I just want everyone to know I was right, and I was 100% right 50% of the time. I'm not shocked. Samsung, in fact, they actually accidentally showed off the phone's first kind of what would I say it is? Like a teaser. They showed not a teaser, but they revealed the whole phone on accident.
Oh, a leak?
During the Oscars, they
Was
showed a
it
commercial
leaked?
for well, not really leaked, but they showed an ad for their phone before they announced it.
Oh, well, maybe that was their way of announcing it.
But yeah, I feel like it wasn't an accident. I feel like that was just a marketing thing. Like, yeah, people already know the phone's a thing. Let's just go ahead and show people so that way
It would
we
be
can
very
beat 'em to the
unlikely for them
curve.
to run a commercial on accident. I will let you know about that.
So anyway, yeah, no, they went ahead and announced some details. They started the conference off with announcing their new flip phone. I can't believe I'm saying that in 2020, but yes, they announced a new flip phone. The
What?
Galaxy Flip Z. It's really weird. So it is a 6.9-inch display. It's got only a single mono speaker. They've ditched their whole curved display, which is not a shocker. Their original Fold phone did not have a curved display like how the other Samsung phones have. Only has 2 cameras on the back. It has a small little camera on the back as well, or it's not small little camera. It has a small little screen on the back, so it allows you to take selfies and look at notifications while it's closed. But it's not like the Fold where it was like a tablet or a 7-inch display. This one's more of a traditional phone that can fold up in the style of a DS or Game Boy SP. I see as people keep giving it comparisons to. It the display, they've actually, one thing I will give Samsung credit for is they changed it a lot from the Fold. It is no longer a plastic display. It is what they're calling a glass combination of glass and plastic. So
So it's like an alloy?
yeah. The actual screen part, I'm assuming from what I've seen. We need to see more because I'm still skeptical about it because it's a folding display. How does glass fold? I'm very skeptical about that.
I would imagine the part that's folding is plastic and everything else is glass.
Well, speaking of which, it still has the crease of the Galaxy Fold, so I'm betting that's the plastic part of the display, which kind of makes me upset that they still have not fixed the crease problem. But they did say they did fix the actual part that bends and folds from last year. If you guys don't remember, I think we talked about it a little bit in our last couple of podcasts, which you should definitely look at. We talked about how the Galaxy Fold, when it was first being released, before it actually hit consumers, when reviewers were touching it, there was a lot of people that were having complaints about the hinge and that dust particles and stuff would get into it and ruin the display. Well, Samsung has learned from that lesson and has basically redesigned the hinge on the Fold and the Flip and basically made it to where it's a lot better at handling dirt and stuff. It now has microfibers inside of it that keep that from getting in deep to the hinge and into the screen portion of the display, which is great because that should give it a lot more durability, which was one of our biggest complaints of the Galaxy Fold. So hopefully, I'm going to say this right now in regards to the Flip Z. I think it's cool technology. I think it's way too expensive for what it's worth.
How much is it costing right now?
Over 1,000, and I think it's around 300 and something.
Woo!
And it's an expensive device, and considering the fact that it's running a last year's processor and it's not really that fast compared to its other phones that are being released this year, it's definitely more of a gimmick phone. I mean, I'm not saying Samsung's onto something. I'm just saying that because they really want this full technology to take off. And honestly, I can see there being some practicality with it. Being able to have a larger device in a less of a footprint or a less compact style would be amazing. And seeing this technology on laptops or computers in the future would be awesome. I'm just saying we're not there yet, and Samsung is trying to pave the way for it. It's just going to take some time to get used to. But they did announce their S series of phones, which is pretty exciting. However,
now, before we move on to that one, I did want to point out something that I noticed about this phone because I'm looking at pictures of it that I don't think you mentioned. The other flip phone that they had was flipping horizontally. This
Yeah,
one
that's why
is
I
a
said
vertical flip.
That's what I said. It's not. That's what I said earlier into it. Is this isn't a tablet size. This is more of a traditional phone size, and
Yeah.
it folds like a Game Boy SP.
If people don't know what a Game Boy SP does, like me, it's a vertical flip like a Nokia. That's just what I wanted to
Yes.
clarify for those who didn't know. But please continue, Matthew.
Anyway, so I will say I'm about to talk about the S20, and I will admit that this phone is a bombshell. Specifically,
Like a good bombshell or a bad bombshell?
a good one,
Mm.
because this pretty much okay. So they started the event. They were showing off at the very end of it when they were talking about the S20 Ultra, which is what I'm going to talk about the most. They revealed that all the cameras they were using to record the event were all recorded on the S20 Ultra, and they're like, they took like they changed the camera point to the other cameras, and they were showing off each camera rig, and they were all S20 Ultras, and I was like, huh. So let me just say something. The new battery in these S20 Ultras is 5,000 milliamp hours. To give you context, just 2 generations ago, the biggest model they had was like the S9 Plus, and that thing had like a 3,600 something milliamp hour battery.
What does that translate into hours of usage?
Pretty good battery life. Now, they don't have actual like battery usage, and the only reason I'm saying well, let's wait until then is because they also changed the display. We are now going from 60 hertz panels to 120 hertz displays. This is a big leap in cell phones because we've been on 60 hertz for the longest time, and we've made jumps like small little hurdles. OnePlus with their OnePlus 7 Pro, they showed off a 90 hertz panel on their phone. So now Samsung's like, we can one up you. It's like, hold my beer. I'm going to release a phone with 120 hertz display. Now, they're also saying, and this is a little bit of a shock, is that the S20 will be able to record footage in 8K. And I'm seeing Cody shake his head just a little bit.
Why? Why? Well, okay, I get it. Like, this is all future tech and stuff. But, I mean, really, realistically, logically,
Why?
logistically, you don't need 8K. The human eye can only see, like, 5K or something along those lines. They can't see 8K, and if you're gonna record 8K, get like a camera or something. Don't like I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit much.
Oh no, it gets worse.
Oh boy.
Its sensor that it has on the camera is a whopping 108 megapixel camera sensor.
Give me some context on those numbers, please.
To give you context, I'm pretty sure like we use personally your T7, my T6i, my Canon T6.
I have a T5i.
Or your Canon T5i. I'm
But you
pretty
have a
sure
T6,
that's
yeah.
like only like 12 or like 20, somewhere around that range.
Compared to
106 or 108 in this Galaxy S20 Ultra. That's pretty impressive, I have to say.
okay.
And not only that, but it can do over 100 times zoom.
Okay, what's the storage on it like though? Because if you're bringing in huge files like that, trust me, they are huge files. 8K, all that good stuff. How much storage does it have on that little phone of that? Because I feel like it's gonna fill up pretty fast.
I'm pretty sure it actually starts out at 512 gigabytes.
Honestly, that's not that much when you're recording in 8K.
Yeah,
And,
it's gonna take
megapixels and all that. Plus, really for a phone like that, if you're recording videos like that, you're going to need 5G in order to get that off your phone, or it's going to take all your data to move like a 5-minute video off of that phone with 8K. And I can assure you that I'm sure a lot of people that have those phones are not going to know how to like mess with the quality settings to get it to be a smaller file size and all that good stuff. So that seems a little bit excessive to me, but I mean it's not marketed towards me. I'll be honest.
It actually starts at 128 gigs.
Only 128 gigs.
It starts. You can get up to 512, and you can get it all the way up to, because of its support for external micro SD cards. You can take it up to a gigabyte and a half or 2 gigs. That's a lot of storage.
You mean
2
a terabyte?
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay, 2 terabyte. I feel like you have to upgrade it because 128, that's going to go immediately.
You want to know its starting price?
Oh boy.
Because I mean, I've listed some specs. Not even
yeah.
I've listed some pretty good specs. It's gonna start for the Galaxy S20 Ultra at $1,399.
I mean, that seems reasonable for a phone
That
of
can
that.
record 8K footage.
Yeah. I mean, okay. In all honesty, the amount of money it would take to get a camera set up that can record 8K would cost you a lot more than $1,300. I'll be honest. I mean, okay, I don't know all this stuff off the top of my head, but I get the feeling that 8K cameras, like specific cameras, are going to cost at least that much money,
If not more.
if not more. So, I mean, from that aspect, that's nice, but that's not for me at all.
But I will say, they did not go for cheap options this year for the S series. I mean, even the S20, just the standard S20, which is not really that impressive, it's starting at like $1,000, like $999. That's expensive compared to
Yeah.
Apple's starting price for their iPhone 11, which is like $749.
That's a lot of money for
That-
a phone.
So, okay, let me just, I feel like I have to say something real quick. Smartphones have changed in the last couple of years so much. And I feel like it has changed from, instead of you buying a new phone every year and year, their companies are looking at consumers and they're going, well, they're not buying phones every year or every couple of years. They're wanting to buy phones and then stick with it for at least 4 or 5 years. And then they upgrade eventually later on down the road when they feel like it's not getting support or it's just running slower than they would like it to.
For mysterious reasons. Apple, Apple.
But yeah, no, I feel like the companies have just started to realize that consumers aren't buying devices every year or so. So now instead of that, they're like, well, okay, fine. They don't want to spend money every year or so to get a new phone. That's fine. Let's sell a phone that's super expensive, but gets 5 or 6 years of support.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Maybe that'll save on costs. I don't know. I've known people who have like plans with their carriers that they get the newest phone every year and they just make payments on it.
Oh yeah, no,
So
like Sprint.
They just add it on to their bill or whatever.
Which, side note, as a side bonus story, I guess. Sprint and T-Mobile merger got approved.
Yeah.
Recently I saw. So basically, Sprint's getting merged in with T-Mobile, and it's just going to be T-Mobile. So I guess silent salute for Sprint.
Well, I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're just being eaten like Disney eats companies.
Oh God, don't get me started on Disney. So anyway, that's my story. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story by Cody. Cody, I've been looking forward to this ever since you
Yes.
started teasing it a little bit.
Finally, a story that I have that Matthew probably has not heard of, and this is not. I'm not sharing this story for the sake of the story. The story isn't all that interesting, to be honest, but I found it very ironic and humorous in many ways. So, first of all, I will say that I'm getting this story from Polygon.com, written by Charlie Hall on today, so Thursday, from when you guys are listening to this, February 13th, at about 10:32 a.m. Doesn't really matter about that. But this is where I'm getting my story from, and this story, if you guys don't know or aren't aware, haven't been paying much attention to the gaming industry as a whole, Battle Royale is a mode that has been taking many different games by storm. I think Call of Duty has Battle Royale. I think Battlefield... Does Battlefield have Battle Royale?
Yes.
Battlefield has
Firestorm,
Battle
I believe
Royale.
it was.
Of course, there's Fortnite, who popularized it, PUBG, and then there's like Apex Legends. All sorts of games are getting Battle Royale. But Battle Royale, I do believe, was started with PUBG. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew. I do
Uh,
believe PUBG started the Battle Royale craze.
okay, that's a misconception. So, I mean, well, yes,
They
it's
had a
made its
big,
popularity.
yeah, they had a big part in it. I'm not saying they were the first ever to do Battle Royale.
It was Minecraft, okay?
Well,
Hunger
also,
Games.
well, no, not quite that game, but either way, PUBG had a big hand in popularizing and spreading Battle Royale. And actually, I think spawned Fortnite, probably more or less, because Fortnite was sort of just a PUBG clone at first, and then it sort of took its own thing. But anyway, I'm talking about stuff that I don't know fully about, but this story really just tickled me. So I'll read the headline to you. The headline is PUBG Arcade Mode adds Team Deathmatch with 8-player teams on smaller maps. So the game that popularized the battle royale mode is sharing to the world that it's innovating, and now it has team deathmatch, just like all the others.
So what you're saying is they're desperate.
Yes. So the story goes on to say that a new patch on February 19th, which will add arcade-style gameplay. The first arcade mode will be a take on classic Team Deathmatch featuring respawns. Ooh. The update will also tweak thrown weapons, among other improvements, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, the story goes on to just say the biggest change is in the new arcade mode, which aims to get players into the action a lot faster than traditional Battle Royale mode. The 8-on-8 engagements will take place on 7 different maps. 7 maps, guys. 7. Each one is curated from a section of existing battlefields. Respawns are unlimited. There are no knockdowns and friendly fire is turned off. Rounds last 10 minutes or to 50 kills, making them well less than half the time of your average PUBG session. Because this is new and amazing. My favorite thing about this story is, and then we'll get to discussing it, is a quote from PUBG Corp that said, it's in brackets here, Team Deathmatch, so I'm guessing they said the name of the mode, which isn't going to say Team Deathmatch, but effectively, the Team Deathmatch features classic PUBG PUBG gunplay and mechanics with all the fun and action of respawning back into the fight. Just like regular PUBG, but instead of Battle Royale, it's just Team Deathmatch. So they said in the post, the boost gauge functions differently in Team Deathmatch and fills by scoring kills and assists, restoring your health after you haven't received damage for 5 seconds. Guys, it has regenerative health too. Has regenerative health. Like, wow. This is amazing stuff right here.
Ooh.
So that's the story for today, Matthew. What do you think about that? They're innovating. It's crazy.
I'm still not coming back to play their game because, yeah, no. Sorry. I feel like they've just not learned from what the competition has. Because instead of, they do not know how to support their fan base or just support their game in general because of the fact that Epic Games is able to actually support their game and actually, make it grow, whereas they do not know how to actually handle PUBG, the game itself. From launching it into full, like from early access into a full game, and then basically not fixing any glitches or bugs or anything. They're just saying, "Oh, it's finished, guys. It's finished.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna say it's finished and it's done."
And instead of fixing their own game, they decided, oh, our game's not making money. It has to be Fortnite's fault, so we're gonna sue them.
Yes, 100.
Yeah, no, make your game better.
Yeah, and then they realize, oh, hey, we made, that's all made by the company that makes the game engine that our game is made on.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah, I just, nothing against PUBG. If you like playing PUBG, that's great. You're about to have a new team deathmatch mode, which is amazing. I just got really tickled when I read this headline.
Have you actually played PUBG at all?
No, but I've seen lots of gameplay of it, so I know of it, and I've played Fortnite myself. But it just really tickled me from seeing all these different posts of this game's getting a Battle Royale mode, and this game's getting Battle Royale mode. Well, now the one that spawned it all is getting the team deathmatch mode. It's catching up to the rest of the competition. So, yeah, that was my story. Not the greatest, most interesting story of all time, but I thought it was enjoyable. So now, Matthew, we're going to move on to my favorite segment of the podcast. Most of the time, except for that one time. But that doesn't matter because we're moving on to Versus, the Versus segment where we pit two individual ideas, creatures, creations, characters against each other in a deadly head-on battle to the death. Or until we decide that water is in fact wet.
Oh, shut
So
up.
today we're going
No.
to be revealing the victor of the last thingy here.
The
Let me
last
see.
thingy. The last one.
The last one that we did. But before we do that, I want to go over some comments. So you guys actually commented. Thank you so much to everyone who left a comment. I greatly appreciate it. I love hearing why you guys voted the way you did. And I'm going to read some out, Matthew. So now I feel like I'm doing an LPIAY right now. So here we go. Madison Foster. Madison Foster, I'm going to read this out here. So last time I made a comment about a certain flavored water.
Sweet tea.
A certain drink that I'm not going to name any names here, just a drink of some description. And I guess Madison didn't like that because Madison Foster, she said that she only voted for Batman because of a certain Dirtwater comment made on the podcast. Now, look, I don't know if I said it last time, but you can drink tea. If you like tea, that's great. I'm happy for you, but I don't. So, well, okay, I will also say I haven't tried all tea, so there might be some tea that I like, but I've never tried a tea that I've liked. So until then, it's Dirtwater. So moving on to me. Anyway, again, you can like tea all you want. That's great. So next, Andrew Mann commented that he voted for Tony Stark because the AI, Tony Stark AI, would be able to defeat Batman while Tony eats shawarma. And here's a little GIF or GIF. I'm not gonna weigh in on that debate.
Let's start that one.
Yeah, let's not do that. Of the Avengers eating shawarma from the end of the first Avengers movie, which was a great scene. So yeah, thank you guys so much for commenting, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say about this week's. But for now, the victor of last week, Iron Man versus Batman, Tony Stark versus Bruce Wayne, was of course the one, the only, the amazing
Batman.
I Love You 3000. Iron Man took the victory with 19 votes total. I don't believe there were any votes on Twitter, but let me just double check real quick so I'm not wrong. Oh, there was. There were 2. Hey, thank you 2 people for voting. I can't see who it was. There were 2 extra votes for Iron Man on Twitter. So out of 22 votes, let's see here. Where is my post? Here it is. So we had, adding in the Twitter votes, we had 15 votes for Iron Man to be the victor in the battle to the death, and Batman received 6 votes. So yeah, thank you guys for your amazing support on that segment. That was great. I love hearing from you guys and seeing what you have to sing. So this time, we've wanted to mix it up a little bit because we wanted to do some sort of verses that we hadn't really done before. And Matthew was tasked with the wonderful, awesome job of going through all of our posts and digging up all of the verses that we've done.
Which took forever.
Trust me, I was sitting here waiting for him to finish doing that. So I realize how difficult that must have been. But we've gathered up all of the verses segments that we've had over the 6 months we've been doing this podcast, give or take. And Matthew and I have both selected a competitor for this, but we haven't told each other which one it is. We've selected the competitor from any of... Oh, we were going to do any of the winners. Thinking about it. Did you select a winner?
I did.
Good. Then we did it on purpose, guys. We selected one winner from each of our past verses, and now they are going to fight each other. And we don't know who is who on this. Now, if we selected the same one, which I don't think we did, but if we did, we will go back and select 2 different ones. So, Matthew, let's, on the count of 3, both reveal our choices for today's verses segment. Are you ready?
I am ready.
And 3, 2, 1.
Deadpool.
One Punch Man. Oh, One Punch Man versus Deadpool. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. I like it. This is gonna be an interesting versus. I feel like I know who's gonna win this, but it's not gonna be based on
Deadpool would win.
battling. Well, why would you say that Deadpool could defeat One Punch Man, Saitama from One Punch Man.
Because, okay, for example, like, he just walks over to him, pokes him on the thing, he punches him, and, like, obliterates him to pieces, right?
Yeah.
He'll just come back. Literally, I mean, he's been, like, torn to shreds. He's been pulverized. He's been thrown into the sun. He's been disintegrated. He's been completely destroyed. And then he always comes back because you can't actually kill him. He is literally the perfect opponent for One Punch Man to not kill. He would exhaust One Punch Man by how many times he would have to punch him. Until he eventually gets so tired of just punching him that he would take the L.
So you're trying to say that Deadpool would win because he could win at a battle of attrition with One Punch Man.
Yes.
So you're trying to say that the number of punches One Punch Man would have to use to murder Deadpool is more than one.
No.
When his name is One Punch Man.
I'm just saying.
Have you ever seen One Punch Man, Matthew?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever watched it?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So I can't fault you for not understanding the ultimate power of One Punch Man. He has defeated creatures of unknowing ability and power with a single punch. But that's not the greatest thing about One Punch Man, about Saitama. Saitama One Punch Man is the hero that doesn't care about being a hero. He is the perfect match against Deadpool because honestly, I would love to see this fight. If anyone wanted to like animate something like this, I would watch the crap out of that because I think this would be very interesting to see. But One Punch Man would win because one, Deadpool can't injure him. He wouldn't be able to. There's no way. He doesn't have any abilities besides swords and not dying most of the time. Now, One Punch Man, I think, could win against Deadpool because he could literally just throw him into space and never have to hear from Deadpool again.
Oh, he would come back.
He could throw him out of the galactic orbit. That is how powerful One Punch Man is. And Deadpool would be lost in space forever.
He would come right back.
Forever.
He would come right back. That's how he is. He doesn't give up. He is annoying. He annoys the crap out of the X-Men. He annoys the crap out of Spider-Man. He annoys the crap out of the Avengers. He always, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you shoot him, no matter how many times you absolutely destroy him, he will come back and he will continue to annoy the crap out of you. Like that one friend you have that always completely just keeps texting you.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying this, Matthew? Why are you looking at me?
But that's what Deadpool's good at. He's a merc with the mouth. He needs somebody to talk to. And he's going to talk him to death.
Well, I can assure you that in order to murder Deadpool, you would have to destroy every single atom of Deadpool. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, Saitama has a special ability. He has the perfect weapon against Deadpool, and that is his ultimate move of consecutive normal punches. His move of consecutive normal punches would eliminate every single trace, every atom, every electron of Deadpool, and he would be no more because of his consecutive normal punches. This special move has defeated untold amounts of enemies and won One Punch Man the day so that he could in fact go grocery shopping, which is all he wanted to do in the first place. Honestly, out of the Versus segment, you should watch One Punch Man. It is one of the best anime I've ever seen. I love it. It's my favorite anime of all time. Anyway, back into the Versus segment. You would lose, Matthew.
Oh, yeah? Well, you know what? Let's let the viewers decide, don't we?
Let's do that,
Let's
Matthew.
do that.
So, Matthew, what are our social media handles that all of our lovely listeners, unless they're on YouTube viewers, can find our little debate here and weigh in?
Alrighty, so that will be on...
Reading off of the computer. I see how it is. You don't have this stuff memorized.
Wait, hold on.
So, it is
wait,
Facebook is Back from the Grid podcast. Twitter is Back from the Grid, and Twitch is Back from the Grid. Please go and cast your vote on who you think would win in this ultimate battle to the death. You know who's going to win, guys. You know. So vote for that one, because you know who it is. But yeah, let us know, and please let us know in the comments why you chose like you did, because we really want to know. It would be very
Okay.
fun to discuss this stuff with you guys. And yeah, I can't wait to see what our results will be next week. But Matthew, let's move on to your segment. Well, two of
Yes.
your segments actually, and the first one being new.
LPIAY.
You skipped your own segment.
Oh, well, technically.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I missed
Well,
it there.
technically,
It's
you
hidden in
skipped
there.
your own segment, Matthew. So,
Well, anyway,
what are we talking about today?
we're going to be talking about next generation consoles and live services. So I've got two different news stories, and one that kind of concerns me. The other one is laughable. So anyway, recently, PlayStation has filed a patent for some software technology for their next generation consoles. And anyway, let's just say it's pretty scummy. They filed a patent so that way if you suck or you're not doing so hot in a video game, it will pop up with a message on screen basically saying about, and Cody's just like,
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
keeps going in on here.
Keep going. It's
Anyway.
fine. I'm working on stuff. Keep going. They filed a patent about a certain thing.
So when you suck in a video game, it can be like, hey, we're noticing you're not doing so hot. Would you like to pay money, like real life money, to
Who did that?
PlayStation?
Not surprised. Not surprised.
So yeah, no, basically, shoving microtransactions in your face as you do horrible at games. So imagine you're playing Dark Souls, you die like 40 freaking times.
Oh, now I have to write that down. You got to put in a little duck sound. What time is 43? All right, keep going.
I said freaking.
No, you said something else first. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, Matthew. So they filed a patent, yeah?
43 freaking times.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you die, and then all of a sudden,
Then you express yourself in a way.
You just drop, you drop in the curse words, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh man, I'm doing so terrible. And then all of a sudden you see a message basically being like, hey, we see you're doing terrible. Would you like some?
Hey kid. Opens trench coat. Opens trench coat. Would you like some? Would you like some free passes? Would you like some pay to wins here?
Would you like some
this is like $5 a month, man. $5 a month right here. Come on.
So this is really interesting news. Cody, what do you think about it? Because you're pretty anti microtransaction, pretty anti that kind of mechanic.
Anti paying more money for a game that I bought at full price. Yeah, I mean it doesn't surprise me. I know that what was it? It was Activision Blizzard, I think. They patented a thing where they would try to pair you with other players that have items that you want and that were way better than you, so that they could try to like then sell you that item after the round is over or something. And it very, very sleazy tactics here. Honestly, they're just trying to get as much money out of you as they can. And it's really sad because video games are awesome. And really, if companies just decided to like, hey, let's just make a video game fun and enjoyable and people will buy it and it'll be great. And then we'll make another one that's enjoyable and people will buy it and it'll be great. But, then corporations get involved and it's like, I want all the money.
See, I don't want just a little bit of money. I want all the money.
This 5-year-old kid didn't give me his allowance. We're not doing good enough, guys. We need more microtransactions in there.
I want all of it. I mean, every penny.
Yeah. It's par for the course, really. That's unfortunate.
So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Hopefully, PlayStation does not actually go forward with that patent, and that we can see hopefully some improvements coming along in that way. That and Anthem recently announced. Anthem, after being in hibernation for a couple months, basically putting out a letter saying, we're going to be updating it, and we're going to be supporting the game. We're going to treat it like a live service. Don't worry, guys. We're going to add more content. We're going to redo everything. We promise, guys. They're over here just like, guys, why are you mad at me? I thought I gave you everything I wanted.
It is election year, isn't it? For making empty promises.
Yes.
Oh, hey, I'm not saying any sides anyways.
Anyway, so
EA is bad, guys.
EA,
That's what I'm saying.
It's all about the money.
EA.
It's in the
EA
na-
Sports.
it's in
It's
the
in your
money.
wallet.
It's in their wallet. It's in the microtransactions. So what do you
Yes.
think about Anthem and just live services as a whole?
I-
With Fallout 76 doing
Mhm.
horrible and Anthem, basically being a dumpster fire of a mess.
So
And even games are now being delayed because they're starting to now realize that the live service model is not a very retainable model.
it's
to work
almost
off
like
of.
when everyone jumps on one thing to try to milk it until it dries up, then it dries up. That's really crazy. Yeah, I mean, live services are live services. They can be good, but they can be very much taken advantage of. And I don't give a crap about Anthem. Never have, probably never will.
Yeah, no, I'm not very interested into that game. I keep looking at gameplay for it. I mean, it looks cool. The graphics look nice, but as a looter shooter, with no loot, I can't respect that. I mean, what were their thought processes about that? Let's make a loot shooter like, Destiny, but not have any loot. That sounds like a great idea, right,
Sounds
Cody?
like a great idea.
That
But you
sounds like
can
a
buy
great
loot.
idea.
You can spend money and buy loot. It's great.
Heck, they just recently took down their Christmas decorations. Actually, I don't even know if they took it down yet. Basically, literally, we're in February now, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we still have Christmas decorations up in our hub." Yep.
I get the feeling what happened is somebody over at EA looked at Borderlands and was like, "Oh, we can make money off this." But we don't have Borderlands. Let's make our own. And then Anthem happened, and they realized, "Oh, this was a bad idea.
This is a very bad idea.
People are smarter than we give them credit for." What? Okay. Anyways, let's stop making fun of EA because,
That's easy.
it
Everybody
gets
makes
boring
fun of them.
after a while. So Matthew, that was a great. Well, technically, except your little word slip in there. But you got the duck quacks and whatnot
Duck
for that.
quack.
So what's the next one, Matthew? The segment that is Q sound.
Wow, that was a great sound.
Yes,
that was
I
such
love
a
that
great
sound
Love it
so
so
much.
much.
It's amazing.
Anyway.
Dang it, Google, for changing your systems.
Anyway, so last podcast, I asked you, what is your show that would be the show that you binge watch forever?
Forever. Add some effects on me,
Forever
Matthew.
and
Put some effects in there.
ever.
Forever. He's not gonna do it,
No.
guys.
Mm-mm.
Not gonna happen.
Nope. I'm gonna put an echo there just to make you angry.
Hey, that's what I was asking for. So if you actually do it, that'd be great.
I'm gonna make you sound like a little screeching banshee.
All right. That's that. I'm sure that's some good quality, just like these wall bits here.
Oh wow,
Very good
screw
quality.
you.
All right, Matthew.
Screw you.
What are all of the beautiful, wonderful, awesome listeners and viewers had to say about this particular question?
Alrighty, so Jimmy Barnes went ahead and posted onto our social media saying, "Trailer Park Boys for the Boys is one of the shows I would watch forever. I've not personally watched Trailer Park Boys, and I'm probably missing out on a lot. I'm probably going to get a comment saying, wow, why have you not watched that? You're a monster."
I've heard very good things about that, so it should be watched, but I have not seen it either.
Andrew Mann posted on there also saying, The Office or MASH. Hey, we asked for one, not for two here.
You got to make up your mind, Andrew.
You gotta
make
pick
up your
one. You
mind.
can only have one. But anyway,
Everyone gets one. That's all
only
it
get
is.
one. You can only watch one forever. He posted on there saying that the shows never get old and they have great characters, and the evolution of the show and characters is a journey start to finish. I 130% agree with you on that. I loved watching The Office, and I also agree that that would be a show I would binge watch for the rest of eternity because of just how entertaining it is.
I think I respect your decision, and I very much enjoy watching The Office bloopers, but I just cannot watch The Office as it's made because
Why
it's just
not?
too cringy for me.
What?
It's not my kind of humor. Now, Parks and Recreation, though, would be a very good choice because I love that show, and also Ron Swanson is my spirit animal. Please continue.
Oh my god. So yeah, no, thank you guys for your submissions. Our answers are gonna be throws up on the floor.
Guys,
Everybody do
guys,
the
he's dying.
dinosaur.
I think we gotta like save the planet here now. So
Oh man, remember that one Disney movie? It was like Save Mars, Save Mom or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something. I think I may have seen that. That was a very weird movie.
That was a very weird movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason you reminded me of that.
You're welcome. Is that the show you would binge watch forever?
No, no.
What is the show, Matthew? Everyone is dying.
I
know.
would probably binge watch The Office as well because of how entertaining it is. You're giving me that.
No, I mean that's fine. Like I said with the dirt water, you know, if that's what you like, that's great. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it, but I do not.
So that person that made voted just because of the dirt water comment, now you have to vote on me because he said that about The Office.
Hey, but now that he's telling you to vote for him, that means you have to vote for me. I'm just saying.
Okay. So anyway, and your choice would be
Mine is very practical.
very practical.
To be fair, I have a very practical choice, and my choice is The Simpsons.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because there
on Disney
are
Plus.
a million episodes of The Simpsons, and there continue to be more. So for all I know, I have to binge watch this. This is the only show I could watch forever. Well, the show could continue for forever because it's been going for forever. It's the longest running show of all time. So that would be my choice.
What about Doctor Who?
Doctor Who ended, and then it got a restart. But The Simpsons is statistically and officially the longest running show of all time. Doctor Who ended and then restarted.
They didn't restart because they continued off from what happened.
Yeah, it was a rebirth of the series.
Because they bring it back even with the newer episodes, like they bring back the old Doctors.
It didn't forsake the old series, but the production of the show ended. And to be the longest running show, you have to continue to run forever, throughout that time, which is why Doctor Who would not hold that. But Doctor Who has been around for a long time. Not saying it hasn't. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Matthew, what is the next question that you have for the lovely ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs and, of any other stuff?
What is a food that you hate and why?
Ooh.
This is a controversial one, boys. This is going to be exciting. And girls.
And anyone else.
And other genders.
All are welcome here. Please continue.
Anyway, basically, what is a food that you would hate and why is our next question. Go ahead, write it down on our social media pages on Back from the Grid.
Reading it off the screen.
Podcast.
Facebook is Back from the Grid Podcast. Twitter and Twitch is Back from the Grid. Thank you very much. I'll be here until next Thursday. Because Matthew locked the door.
Yes. Oh my God. So anyway, guys, that has been our Lapaya segment. Thank you guys so much for responding. It makes me so happy to see you. But let's go ahead and move on to our last segment. This is our review kind of segment. It is our Scream Time segment. We're going to be talking about...
What movie are we going to be talking about, Matthew? I think your name that you have for it is not going to be quite correct.
So, anyway. Gosh, you keep interrupting me. Wow. Unacceptable.
Interrupting penguin. What sound does a penguin make?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
So, anyway, just to let you guys know, we're going to be reviewing Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
And the fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Which has now been changed to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey by Warner Brothers.
They didn't get enough money.
Which, by the way, before we start the review, I found it funny because I saw an ad saying that we were the #1 in box office in the world. And then I kind of laughed a little bit considering they only made how much on their opening weekend?
30 million?
Yeah, and it's not
the production value of the movie was like 90 million or something like that.
Or 90 or 100 million.
Something around that. Yeah. But yeah, so we went and watched this movie last Friday. Yes, last Friday. We wanted to talk about it last podcast, but we couldn't quite get to... No, we watched it last Thursday after the last podcast, just because they weren't showing it quite soon enough for us to talk about it. Yes, but now we're going to talk about it. And as always, with Screen Time, which I think this might be the first time we're doing Screen Time with it being called Screen Time, but our movie review, we're going to talk about the first part of it, spoiler-free, and we're going to let everyone hear what we have to say about it. Would we recommend it? What we thought was good? What we thought was bad? Generally, in a sense that doesn't spoil anything of the movie. I will also say there's not really any big spoilers in this movie. But the movie itself we're going to talk about non-spoilerific until we get to the spoiler point, at which point we will have a soft end to the podcast, and everyone who hasn't seen the movie can leave and then come back once you've seen it and listen to what we had to say about the movie. So, Matthew,
One more thing. At least for me, I don't know about Cody. I'm going to go ahead and at the very end of the non-spoiler section, we're just going to kind of say whether or not yes or no, or maybe
whether we would recommend it,
whether we
like I just said, Matthew.
So it's kind
like
of
I just said, Matthew.
So
I'm
just saying more in depth. Gosh, Cody, don't like kill me over here. You're just over here with the pitchfork.
Hey.
Anyway,
unlock the door and I'll put the pitchfork down. All right. All right. What do you think? What do you think, Matthew? Unspoilerifically of the movie.
I think
now that you've had some time to ruminate on it,
I think it was a good-ish movie.
Good-ish.
I think it has problems. I don't think it is as bad as some critics go out to say it is, and I don't fully understand some of the decisions made. Considering compared to Justice League and Suicide Squad, I would actually say this is one of the better DCEU films. Personally, in my opinion, I liked the film. I enjoyed it. Some of the action scenes in it were kind of inconsistent, but good. They actually got one of the action directors that did John Wick 3. I think it was Parable. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know the names.
John Wick 3. They got one of the people that directed the action scenes in that to do it, and for some of them because they had to do reshoots, which looked really awesome. I liked some of the characters. I did disagree with some of their decisions for how they portrayed certain characters. And I do like the major kind of story right now. It's not too overly the top or serious. The villain, which I didn't really care too much about, it was the first, if anybody, well, it's common knowledge.
No spoilers.
It's not spoilers.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is. You can wait.
Gosh.
The villain.
The villain.
Period.
I was not super, was not super exciting. Nothing really awesome or anything like that as I thought it would. This is an R-rated film. Did you feel like this was an R-rated film?
Yes.
To me, it felt more like a PG-13 film.
No.
In some scenes, like okay,
No.
there were some scenes where it got violent.
No, this is rated R. This is rated R, buddy. This is rated R.
Okay, go look at Deadpool and then go watch this, and you'll feel like this is more of a PG-13.
R is R. It could be light R or it could be heavy R, but R is R. Math is math, Matthew. Math is math. They can't change math. Incredibles 2.
Oh my god. Anyway, I feel like it could have leaned a little bit more into the R rating than it did. I feel like it just got that R rating, and then Warner Brothers was like, "Oh yeah, we'll be fine. People will go watch R-rated superhero films now.
People will go watch R-rated films."
And then they're like, "Why are you talking like that, Warner
Mickey
Brothers?
Mouse, why are you over here at Warner Brothers? I have a bomb. Oh my gosh. We're not doing impressions again, guys. We're not doing it. It's over. That's gone. That segment is gone.
I thought some of the action scenes were good. I listened to the soundtrack before the movie came out, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought some of the characters in the movie were kind of lackluster. I thought at the very end, though, it kind of what's this word? It kind of
fizzled.
It kind of fizzled out, and it kind of dragged a little bit.
Now, Matthew, before I take the torch here and start talking about what I thought about the movie, I want to hear, because you haven't said it yet, what do you think about Margot Robbie's performance?
Oh yeah, no, she killed it. Like, she is Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
That's undeniable. She was one of like the top tier parts of Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love that part of Suicide Squad, you're gonna love seeing her in this film. She kills it as Harley Quinn. And in my opinion, she is Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
It's undeniable at this point. And I feel
she is Harley Quinn.
She is Harley Quinn.
Snap.
And I will say, let me say one more thing. This does not feel like a Birds of Prey film. This feels more of a Harley Quinn film, which is why they changed the name, I feel like. Because people were thinking it was a Birds of Prey film, which is a superhero team we have never seen in film. We've seen one TV series, and that's about it.
I mean, it was kind of a Birds of Prey film.
Barely. I mean, they didn't even team up till like... Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say anything. It felt barely of a Birds of Prey film.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, let's go ahead and see what you want to talk about.
Yay! Hey, I can talk now, guys.
Yes.
So, first of all, I want to say that with this movie, Matthew, I think you said that you liked it better than Suicide Squad.
Why do I feel like you're about to say the opposite?
I thought it was on par with Suicide Squad, and honestly, I think it had the same issue as Suicide Squad did. The critics are trashing it, as far as I'm aware, but audiences seem to enjoy the movie. The way that I classified it after watching the movie was that it wasn't, if you went into the movie not expecting much, and you went in to enjoy the film as just a fun film, then it was a great movie. It was excellent. They did a great job. The shots, the cinematography was amazing. The sound design had a couple issues here or there, but overall was on par. The music fit pretty well. It wasn't perfect in some situations, but I really did like that the theme that they were going for. Excuse me. Margot Robbie's performance was amazing. I entirely agree with Matthew on that point. Margot Robbie did a great job as Harley Quinn, and I do believe that she actually had a huge part in the
She
creation
produced this.
of this film. Yeah, she was a major force behind this film, and I believe most of the people with the driving force behind this film were female, which is interesting because that's never happened before. I don't really have an opinion.
We had Wonder Woman. That was also another movie that was produced by a woman.
But was it directed by a woman as well?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know, but happened a couple times before. It's happening again now, and I didn't feel like it took away anything from the movie. Honestly, I don't really have an opinion. I don't care if a dude or a lady directs the film or not, as long as they're good at what they're doing. That's all I care about, and they did a good job. For the most part, the shots were great. The action scenes were very fun. They were ridiculous, which was amazing. Now, the reason that this film was rated R was because of the unwanted violence that was not censored at all. That so much violence. Now, I was hoping for that because that made the movie fun, because the violence was so outrageous that it wasn't like disgusting and horrible. It was funny because of how ridiculous it was. Limbs get broken and stuff, but it's not like when a limb gets broken in real life and it's so painful and everybody's screaming and crying and
I mean, there is a little bit of that.
A little bit, but it was very exaggerated and it was fun. The movie was very fun. It didn't take itself too seriously, but it also didn't act like nothing mattered. There was that's kind of a spoiler, so I won't talk about it, but there were parts of the movie that were just fun, and it was just an enjoyable experience to watch. Now, my problem with the movie, and I think a lot of people's problem with the movie, is as a movie, as a film, it was below par. The story was a little disjointed. The characters were not well developed necessarily, not well fleshed out. Some of them were. Margot Robbie did a great job. The lady who played one of the Birds of Prey did a wonderful job. She was hilarious, and I very much enjoyed her story arc. And it wasn't, I didn't feel like the film was supposed to be like Oscar-winning nominations, like Joker levels of getting into character, and it's so deep and it's so it was fun. It was a fun film, and if you go into it expecting to have fun, you'll enjoy it. So, that's my opinions. Matthew, that's your opinions. Let's do what you were hinting at and let you guys know. Would we recommend that you go and watch this film, Matthew?
I would say
yes, no, maybe so.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And I only say that for one particular reason. This is very much a movie for a minority. Or just a mixed audience. I feel like
it was a niche.
It was a niche kind of film. If you're somebody that enjoyed Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad, then I would recommend it. If you are somebody that wants a superhero movie that is for the women, that's meant for empowerment, that's meant for, supporting women and having those kind of roles that are made by women, strong women, and it has that supporting, then go watch it. It's a great movie for you. You'll love it. But for people that are expecting a little bit more from the film, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag in that regards. There are some scenes in it that are really good and show potential of it getting a higher recommendation. Um, but I feel like it's a little bit of a mixed bag to some people. And that's somewhat that movie in general. And I feel like that's something that the movie will kind of suffer in replayability. But what do you give the film?
I personally would say that if you like R-rated films and you like fun films, even if you don't like fun films, I think everyone who likes this kind of movie, whether or not what they expect from it, I think you should watch it. You may not enjoy it as much as you would if, let's say, you were only watching it for Harley Quinn or only watching it for the female aspect of it. But I feel like if you like superhero films and you like Deadpool films and just things in that area, I think absolutely yes, I would say definitely go watch this film. You don't have to watch it in theaters, though. It's not one of those films. You could definitely wait until it comes out and buy it off of, Redbox or whatever movie rental services you have, or, one of the many thousands of streaming services that are available now. But yes, I would absolutely go watch this movie. I recommend it personally. I think it was good, and I liked it just about as much as Suicide Squad. And I feel like it was about the same amount of divisiveness on that.
Yeah.
But that's it for this spoiler-free section. So thank you guys so much for listening to us. We really appreciate all the support we've been getting for the Versus segments, the LPIAY segments. It's been awesome. We love interacting with you guys. This has been so much fun, and it's allowed us to start to actually expand a little bit. And now, Matthew, we've got some decent studio recordings. I've felt a lot more professional this episode than I ever have with just these blankets hanging from the ceiling, which you can go find, by the way, because I will post it on social media and see the little video of it. But yeah, so that's it. Go watch the film if you want to, and then come back and hear what we have to say about it. Otherwise, Matthew, did you have any closing remarks?
That is amazing. Yes.
That's a great closing remark.
Great closer, everybody.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you on the next exciting episode of the Back from the Good podcast. Check us out on social media, by the way, if you want to.
Yes. And Matthew, what is that social media links?
Matthew.
Yes. It is Twitter and
Are you
Twitch,
impersonating yourself?
Back at the Grid.
Back from the Grid podcast on Facebook, Back from the Grid on Twitch and Twitter. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
All right, now, for everybody who's still here and you've seen the movie, hopefully, or you're not going to see it and you just want to know what we have to say about it, that's fine. So,
Black mask, blah, blah, blah. There, I finally said it.
You finally said it. That's who did it, and it was, crap, I forgot his name. It's the guy who played Obi-Wan. I think he did a great job.
Wasn't a spoiler, but I guess I'm now
well, we're in spoiler territory now, so it's fine.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't a spoiler.
It was a spoiler.
No, it
Dang
wasn't.
Yes,
it's in the promotional stuff.
I don't care.
Oh my god.
It's a spoiler to me, so it's spoiler to maybe somebody else. It's fine. Just be safe about it.
He's in the poster too.
Well, so what? I don't care. But yeah, guy who played Obi-Wan, I can't remember his name. Gregerson. Erwin McGregor.
Evan
McGregor. I don't know. Ewan. You guys know who we're talking about. Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I have the high ground.
Obi-Wan. I have the high ground.
Yes.
Apparently he didn't.
Apparently not. But yeah.
I'm just saying, you know what? Speaking of which, did you notice that in the film, there's a scene where Harley and them are at the second floor of that carnival, and then he's at the first floor. I feel like in my brain, I immediately, upon you saying that, I would oh yeah, she's got the high ground.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Which explains so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They should have made a comment about that.
Yeah.
You know how much that'd be? I'd been laughing if I'd have been like GG.
Okay, now they did make a comment, and I want to point this out because it was acceptable. I understand why they did it, why they had to do it, but I did not like it. The part where they're in the clown, building, and they're all fighting all these bad guys and stuff, and then suddenly Harley Quinn has on skates, and they tried to make it okay by having two characters. When did she have time to do a costume change? I don't know. And then they went back to fighting, and now she has roller skates, which is very, very important to the next whole 20 minutes of the film. I didn't like that. I felt like they should have just found a way to put it in there. Just because I'm on CinemaSin's side with this one. Just because you point it out doesn't make it okay. Just find a way. Have her push a button and the roller skates come out of her shoes because she's still got her cool, Joker shoes on or whatever. Just something. I don't know. I felt like there was a better way to do that.
So, speaking on to that, let's talk about Canary.
Canary? Do you mean
the girl with the kind of like dreadlock hair, and she's the singer, the performer, the...
Oh, yeah.
She was the character I was looking forward to in the film because I knew Canary was in this film, and I was like, oh yeah, I watched Arrow and she's in that, and I would have loved to have seen it. And then I watch it and I'm like, okay, I will say her character in the film is good.
Oh yeah.
But her powers and stuff are so nerfed. She only in the TV show, she can like project and be like and like that was her power, is her voice.
Yeah.
Is she can project supersonic waves and like push people away.
Yeah.
And tear people's eardrums apart and
right.
It was like super awesome power.
Supersonic.
And they nerfed her in the movie because she can only use it once, and if she uses it once, she passes out.
Well, maybe this is like the first few times she's used it. She's not ready for it yet.
And then she also goes on to like, they're like trying to say, oh, your mother also had the power and then she like died. So maybe she's the real Canary, and then this is her like, this whole DCEU is weird.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, we don't know anything about
There is no DCEU. It's a cluster F. I mean,
it's a cluster truck of mess.
I don't want to get too much onto this because we're talking about Harley Quinn. But the actors they had to play Batman and Superman are gone now. They switched them out with other people. Like, you can't have a DCEU if you don't keep actors. Marvel paid I want to say
Robert
Tony
Downey
Stark.
Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. out the nose so that he would stay, and it paid off. Come on, DC, learn a thing or two. But anyway, Birds of Prey. So besides that critique I had, I loved Margot Robbie's performance, and my favorite part of the whole movie was how they linked the beginning and end with the sandwich. That was just so stupid, but it was very actually satisfying at the very end of the film when she got to take the big bite of the sandwich. And I know it was stupid. It was very stupid, but I really enjoyed that.
Let's talk about Huntress real quick. What was your opinion on Huntress?
I love Huntress.
I liked Huntress because she had such a deep story, and
it wasn't deep.
Well, no,
but
she
was
have
great.
such a deep, like dark story.
Right.
And she was so dark, and then she showed up, and she's just like looking around. She's like, "Oh, sweet, I did what I needed. Okay, bye."
Yeah.
Okay, I've done what I'm supposed to do. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Whoa, no. You can't just leave." And then she's like, "Yes, I can. I did what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just here to do what I'm supposed to do. I have a whole separate plot."
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, yeah, sure, yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's just nodding her head. I will say one complaint I have with this film, and I did mention it in the non-spoiler section, is costumes. Do you also notice that? I feel like some of the costumes designs could have been better.
Okay, so I feel like this probably has something to do with the whole entire female cast and direction and whatnot. I don't want to get into that because that's like has to deal with genders, and then there's like feminism. I don't want to get into any of that. I want to watch movies to watch movies. I don't care about politics. I don't want politics in my movies, or either way, whatever's. I didn't care. Costumes were what they were. I thought, well, I mean, that was part of I don't want to talk about it. It is what it is. I thought, the costumes were what they were, I think we've come to expect, because the characters, I really don't want to have to get into that, but I feel like that may be the problem, is we've come to expect, women in these films to be
not even like,
sexualized.
Like cloudily dressed or anything like that. Just, the costumes didn't really invoke them being superheroes. I mean, it felt more campy.
Yes, that plays into one of my points I was going to make, is that only Canary felt like any sort of super person. Now, Harley was badass, but she didn't strike me as... Well, badass is fine. I'll say ass. Ass. I'll say ass. Ass is fine. That's not really a cuss word. You can say that on children's programming. But... what was I saying? There we go. Yeah, that was one of the issues I had with it as well, is when Canary came out and started yelling and had these superpowers out of nowhere, it really sort of pulled me out of the movie. Because I hadn't seen any other people or characters anywhere within the movie that had these abilities. And suddenly, because I was not aware of Canary's abilities and the whole backstory and stuff, to me, suddenly she has these abilities. And besides one tiny little scene where she was singing and a glass broke, there was no other indication of her ability to do this. And it just yanked me out of the movie just for a quick minute until they got back to the fun, crazy action and stuff. But as we mentioned, the characters and the story were lacking somewhat in this film, in my opinion, anyway. But I would imagine that does tie into like the costumes and stuff, like you were talking about. It just didn't feel super. It just felt like especially with the detective, like her whole thing. I felt like I was just watching NCIS. And it wasn't like building up to be this awesome thing. It was just cliche detective, man's world, etc., etc. Like, they kept beating us over the head with it. I feel like they shouldn't have spent so much time on it, because when the detective, and I know I'm kind of train wrecking here, and I'm gonna stop talking when I get this out. But when the detective decided to join up with all the other ones, one was a convicted murderer. I know, I see it. It's fine. We'll have a super long episode. It's fine. When she decides to meet up with a convicted murderer, a serial arsonist and super villain, effectively, and then, just another person, the Canary, this detective who's been hardline this whole time, she's so good, she's good at her job. Well, now she's been booted out of the police department, so screw it. Why don't I work with the evil people? It didn't flow very well with that, to me.
Yes.
But now you say some words.
It's kind of like a final kind of wrap up kind of thing.
There's so much more that I could say about this film, I will say. I love the film, don't get me wrong.
I like the sandwich bit. I like the villain somewhat. I just feel like he came off slightly creepy near the end. It's like they kind of tore him apart near the end. And kind of like, I feel like he did a really good job at the beginning, kind of being this like slightly ecstatic, slightly crazy villain. And then near the end, it's like, I'm now a creepy, like, rapist dude now.
Yeah.
Like, take your clothes off and dance for me.
Yeah.
That's slightly creepy.
That was odd. And also, he had a mask, but it was a mask, and he was just regular dude.
I feel like I would have liked to have seen him more in the mask, more considering his name is Black Mask.
Right.
And you'd expect him to... But also, can we just say something, and this is nothing against the film, but DC, you have amazing original villains.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say this. You have Black Mask, you have the Riddler.
No, yeah. The
Literally,
DC,
you have all these villains to pick from, and then you pick the villain is Black Mask. What's his power?
He has a mask that's black. But yeah, absolutely.
You could have picked the Penguin.
Anybody. DC, especially Batman villains, that is their shtick. As shown by the Emmy award-winning, Oscar award-winning, whatever, Joker film, which was only about their villain, because they have such good villains. The Joker has won an Oscar, Emmy, whatever, twice. Heath Ledger won it, and now Joaquin Phoenix won it, because their villains are so good. And everyone likes Harley Quinn because this one, she's sort of a anti-hero, but still started as a villain. DC does villains so well. I would love to see, and we're going to have to wrap up after this, but I would love to see Marvel heroes versus DC villains. I would just love to see a big clash, and I feel like that could be amazing if it was done right. But anyways, so now that we've talked after this, would you still say maybe on should you see it?
I would still hold maybe, yes.
I would still hold absolutely yes. I've complained about a lot about this film, but that's only because it's hard to like, hey, I liked this part. It was good. But yeah, the film was good. I loved it. Matthew, I think I've been talking a little bit more than you for the past little while, so why don't you take us out of here, Matthew?
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening us to today. Well, I didn't expect me to be thrown under the barrel here. Thank you guys.
I can do it. No, I'll step back up and keep talking, man. I'll keep going.
Okay, thank you guys so much for...
it lasted the whole time, but now it's falling apart.
Yay. All right, thank you guys so much for watching us today.
One of the bits of the wall just fell down right as we're ending the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for listening to us today.
We're very professional here.
Oh, my God.
No, it's fine. It did its job.
Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for watching. Let me take it out.
I'm sorry, it just caught me off guard. This thing's just whoosh, falling down on me.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching us today and or listening to us. If you're talking on our platforms, please come talk to us on social media. Cody, what's our social media links?
Wow, you don't know? Back from the Grid podcast on Facebook and Back from the Grid on Twitch and Twitter. So, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, go see some good movies, go play some video games, hang out with your friends, do whatever you like to do, and we will see you on the next exciting episode of the Back from the Grid podcast. Thanks for listening and or watching.
Bye.